no hit. This is no damage only. I'm like, okay, put no damage only. Like, I give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like I care. Because I don't. So, you know, a run's a run. Yeah, I agree, Scala. Yeah. Yeah. But like Ori's so nice. Are you gonna do Will of the Wisp when you're done? Don't don't give a fuck. Oh my god. Does it still count? No. If you don't block damage with it, then you're still a no hit. Death don't give a fuck? Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's actually a great hashtag. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I don't care much about like the specificity, like the specis how specific the rules are or the little niches more than just like it's if it's the spirit of the run or not, you know? And like I feel like I don't know. Because when they made Ori a Team Hitless game, I jumped on it and I was like, yeah, we need to make rules for this because people are gonna break your shit. And you're not gonna know what it looks like. Exactly, yeah. If TH rules weren't fun, yeah. Then like no one would follow them. Exactly. I agree. I literally agree. Yeah, and Scala, honestly, yeah. Like I kind of agree too.
Eh? Oh.
I don't get why Walkling Storage is banned though. Ah shit. It's not the speed. Yep, Walkling Storage is banned. It's not a major glitch. It's allowed in down patch speedruns. But we banned it. We banned it a long time ago too. What do you mean it's not used to do possible without it? What do you mean by that? Because I've seen people do Walkling Storage like at Blue Lake for faster time. So I don't know what you mean by like not possible to do it without it. Because, like, what are those scenarios where, like, you have to do wall cling storage movement? But, for example, you can do QGA with wall cling storage without C dash. Yeah, see, like, we... See, in that case, like... You know... Then can you see for Hitless why that would be kind of problematic and more of a gray line than speedruns? Because when you're doing QGA, I see that's more of an exploit of, like, of hitboxes more than a glitch, right? But if you're doing wall cling storage to literally skip an area, I think it's a little different. You know? You see why it's like more of a gray area for Hitless? Because Hitless runs for Team Hitless is supposed to be like more restrictive and glitchless than speedruns are. I wouldn't care personally, but I'm just kind of like telling you like what Team Hitless kind of thinks in terms of like their direction. Oh, it has to be done in a situation that is able to be done without it. That's what you meant. Yeah, but then why don't you just do it without it? That's what I mean. Like... So basically, it's used to speed up but not skip. But then, like, why don't you just do the original skip? That's what I'm saying. Like, now you're using a glitch instead of, like, an exploit. Because for Hitless, it's not about speed. But yeah, no, that makes sense for any percent. That completely makes sense for speedruns. I mean, you can't because the run would be invalid. Why don't you just do it with speed and swag? Yeah. Well, we're not following NMG rules completely. We have more restrictions than that. It's not completely NMG. There's more restrictions. So we're not like following NMG rules to the T. But like we base our stuff off of NMG. Yo, Frogs, what's up? Yeah, I have. Yeah, I think I have their song somewhere. Yeah, basing off, yeah. It's a different mentality and a different run. Like, and I'm not saying it like, why don't you just do it without wall cling storage, like for speedruns? Like, I'm saying like in speedruns it makes sense to do wall cling storage for faster places, like for faster things, but like for Hitless it's a little different. Like, I know what you mean. Maybe I'll talk to them about it because they had some reasoning for it, and like we can like bring it up again because maybe we'll allow it again. Who knows? If it's like that, if it's that problematic with people, then like if people are having that much of a problem with it. Hold on, I'll read your stuff like in a little bit because this is also like kind of a dangerous area. At least for me it is. Do you know Walkling storage is just fun as fuck? Yeah. Yeah. I think we had, like... We probably didn't know, like, why speedruns allowed it. And we probably did it because you can, like, unintentionally move through rooms with enemies. And they probably wanted you to do it in more proper exploitative ways rather than glitches. And that's what we want. Like, we don't want you to go through fucking rooms doing, like, crazy glitched movement. Because you're supposed to be able to deal with the enemies in the room. Like, sometimes you can't cheese bosses. Like, that's another thing, too. Like, for a lot of games, you're not allowed to, like, cheese bosses or, like, glitch a boss in a corner and stuff like that. You're supposed to, like, usually fight the boss, like, straight up. You know? And that likely doesn't really happen in Hollow Knight. You can't just, like, glitch a boss in a fucking corner like that. But, I know for other games you can. And so, like it said, it's like... another thing with the Spirit of No-Hit is how to navigate rooms with enemies. And so if you're just doing, like, crazy movement to, like, do that, then that's probably why they banned it. Probably. Like, I'm not saying... You know, I'm just trying to give you justification for it. But like I said, I can talk to them about it. Because then I'm doing inventory drop and, like, it's still, like, the same fucking thing. Can you send a clip? Yeah, send me clips. Yeah, go for it. Like I said, I'm willing to learn. Like, I'm not completely knowledgeable with, like, speedrunner stuff. So I'm always asking speedrunners about, like, strats and everything. To, like, understand the game better. Prince of Persia? Yeah, I want to fucking see that. I've seen Prince of Persia and people play it. And I want to play it myself, to be honest, because it looks really fun. You're discussing for fun? Yeah, no, I get you. Our main movement in the speedrun is just sliding and canceling it, but also since sliding gives you iframes, you literally can't get hit dashing under every enemy. Really? Yeah, then that's probably why they banned it. That's okay. When you say it like that. Unintentional iframes? That's a ban. If you lead with that, like... Unintentional iframes is such a fucking ban. Wall cling storage doesn't give you iframes? Are you talking about, Oh, you're talking about Prince of Persia. Shit. My bad. It's not unintentional. Oh my god. Yeah, I'll ask him about it. But... We'll probably do it while we do the list, too. Because I said I was going to do the list. And I do intend to do the list, but then I told them, I was like, hey, I have, like, finals and stuff, and I'm really busy. And I'll do the list as soon as I can. And they're like, okay. So... Because I made the boss list for the Team Hitless rules. I was like, here are the main game bosses, and then here are the DLC bosses, and shit like that. So... Yo, Python, what up? Walk storage. Lol. That's funny. Sharp shadow storage is insane, though. That sounds like fun. But walk storage is funny. Because you agree to pause too much and it's GG. Walk storage is like a classic way to kill a run. Really? That's funny. Walk storage is hilarious. Can't believe that exists. Fuck. Well, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, you're gonna play Repo? Yo. I've been playing Repo with Dev and Lulz. And Dev was like, you should buy this game. And it's the greatest game ever, and I love it. Do I also carry the fuck out of them? Yes. But to be fair, I probably kill them. Like, unintentionally. And then I have to save it. So I mess up and, like, save it at the same time. So it's really funny. You can't nail slash in a state where you get dash storage. So confused. I'm not knowledgeable with glitches. Unfortunately. There's so much of this game that I just don't know. I only have hitless knowledge. Unfortunately. And then even then, it's not a lot. Super slides are about fucking with timescale from a kill. That sounds so interesting, though. What if you killed an enemy with Sharp Shadow? Oh shit.
Boris son? Gian. Velmi Ardred. Velmi Ardred. Velmi Ardred. Kachael Liasoke. Helma Delka.
Efficiency. Transition storage, and it's fun and awesome and fucky. You can't nail slash, D-nail, C-dash while you have it, but it has neat stuff. That's so weird. You, like, get rid of your abilities, but, like, it's speed storage? How do you get into city without crest? Very carefully. If you're going through the TSA route, you might have to, like... I'm sorry, I was gonna make a joke about, like, putting drugs up your ass or something. TSA, my bad. I couldn't make the joke a time. I couldn't make up a good joke enough. My bad. Tram pass it is. Oh shit. That's probably it. Make sure when you go through the tram pass, they screen you before you go in, so you gotta stick the drugs way up your ass. He has to go way up there. It's the Forbidden City for a reason, you know what I mean? They were having a drug problem, and so they closed everything. You know, to keep all the illegals out. Sorry, that was in very poor taste. But I meant that ironically. We're gonna build a gorgeous wall in the entrance of the city. And we're gonna have a Hegemel statue, a giant Hegemel statue just guarding it. Oh my god, what the fuck? What did I just read? Make sure I have a large metallic object in your retro when you go through the metal detector? Got it. Yeah, exactly. And just say it's a tumor. It's a tumor, sir. I have prostate cancer. It's a very serious condition, officer. Stage 4. I got 6 months to live. That's why I'm smuggling drugs across the board, you know, across the city of Tears border. Oh my bad, I wasn't supposed to tell you that part. Excuse me? Fucking bullshit, bro. This guy loves moaning. What's wrong with him? The drugs are really far up his ass. Relatable, to be honest. Wait. Pause. Huh? Do I have to teach you male anatomy and why sticking things up your ass like feels good? And do I have to give a sex lesson? Yo, Dracoth. What up, friend? You came at a really bad time. I'm good. I took health in high school. You took it in high school? I learned that shit in middle school. What? I'm so grateful for all the civics fucking classes that I took a shit in 7th grade. Blobbles are not required for this. I just have to do colo 2 or colo 1. I don't have to do colo 2. Yeah, you don't have to do a blobbles. Oh, that's Gruz. No, I died to Gruz mother, not a blobbles. I died to the Gruzzes on the Anacala one. I literally ran into one. Yeah, I'm pissed about it actually. Yeah. So someone did it wrong. Someone just named it wrong. I mean, they're literally like, you know, the lesbian Gruzzes? What did Catnip call them? I miss Catnip. Clearly you were just getting pale, Laura. Sex with the Reaper would go hard? What am I reading? What is happening? Oh, sex ed. Oh my god. What the fuck? See, I don't have the organs to show you, but I can just point near my pelvic area of where the organs should be. Yeah, Dracoth, yeah. I'm glad we cleared the misunderstanding there. Come or what the fuck? What is this? What are we talking about? See, when you get a boner, children, it's not an actual boner. It's just blood. Because if you actually were getting a boner, I would have a 207th bone in the middle of my pelvic area. But I don't, do I? And that's how you know. Human anatomy is not sex. It's a part of it. What the fuck? But I know what you mean. They're the reproductive organs. It's the sex organs. You gotta teach them about the sex organs. If you don't know how your sex organs work, how are you able to have good sex? And don't worry, I will show you how to actually. Never mind, that's a little too graphic. I'm not gonna go into it now. And in this class, I will actually show you how to pleasure a woman. How to properly pleasure a woman. I'll say it like that. I was gonna say a bit more vulgar and... Yeah, how to have good sex. Fuck yeah. I'm not gonna be I'm sorry. I'm not one of those, like... Just be abstinent. No, fuck you. You're gonna have sex anyway. I'm gonna teach you how to have good sex. What the fuck? Might as well. You got an egg with perfect IVs? Let's go. Sorry if I missed your chats. I'm kind of doing Hitless stuff, so sometimes I can't pay attention to you. Don't worry, I'm still in the room. I'm not. I didn't leave. I didn't leave you. I will now mount. Isn't sex ed supposed to be the class of having sex with Ed? Who's Ed? And why are we having sex with them? Hi, Malika. I fucking read that, frogs. I fucking read that right into a right when I went into dark room. And I'm trying so hard to hold my laugh in. It's like, there's no fucking way you said that. And I just chuckled and I was like, this is like the wrong time to be reading chat. Oh my god. It was like such bad timing. Holy shit. Oh my god. ED Morningwood. Does ED stand for erectile dysfunction? Oh my god, I can't. It's so funny. I was like, I can't laugh yet until I'm out of dark room. Holy shit. Thought it went without saying. You know what? My bad. You're right. My bad for asking about the joke. I ruined it. Holy shit. Oh my god. Buying Stalwart and Hitless is the biggest meme? Yeah, I know. Watch me get Fury and then not use it. There's so many times where I get Fury and they're like, you're gonna do Fury strats? And I'm like, no, I'm using it for a charm slot so I can buy the 10 charm notch. They're like, oh, rip. And then sometimes I put Fury on early and they're gonna be like, you're using Fury strats? I'm like, no, I'm putting it on to piss you off. I forgot to buy the egg. Oh my, guess his middle name. Edie Morningwood's middle name? I don't know. Is it Ligma? ED Ligma Morningwood? Randy? Randy's nuts across your face. Morningwood? Oh my god. I fucking love it. It's like the same joke still. Stop. That wasn't the joke? Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh, it's really safe. Crawl at C dash is extremely safe, yeah. Because you never actually hit it. You just like hit it with, you never make contact, you just hitting it with the side of your C dash, so it's completely safe. You're like right above it. Oh, C dash glitch? Oh, I know about the glitch. But you just kill it in one hit. Like you just like immediately kill it, so it's like it's weird. But like if you can get glitch, maybe I don't do it. I don't know. I don't want to like risk anything. But yeah, you like go above it. You don't make contact like at all. I hit your mom with the side of the C dash last night. If you know what I mean, that is what? Cadnip, I was just saying like 20 minutes ago that I miss you and you just showed up. My God. Oh shit. Oh yeah, yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, I can tell. I know what you mean, yeah. I've seen that happen before, yeah. Yeah, you're right, and that's happened to me before. I know what you're talking about. Holy shit. Oh, fuck. I can't stop reading that. I hit your mom with the side of the C dash. I can't unread it. I fucking can't. Yeah, I double fireballed your mom last day, if you know what I mean. Oh my god. I filled her entire soul gauge, if you know what I mean. Oh shit. When is Ghostbusters hitless? The fuck is that? She looked like a vessel fragment. What is happening? Oh, is this Ghostbusters hitless or something? When I get all the trees or something like that? I don't understand. All one essence ghosts? That would be fun. Honestly, I would probably do that run. No bullshit, I might do that. But then I would have to do, I would have to somehow learn how to do Revok, and that's gonna be difficult. That would be difficult. Revok is fun and fairly consistent. I could never get Revok. But yeah. And cloth is the biggest goal. Yeah, doing cloth, yeah. I could... Yeah, no, you're right, Scala. Yeah, that was my bad, friend. Honestly, that would be really fun to do. And I might do it. Super secret strat? Well, you're gonna have to teach it to me. Or is it classified? Is it classified information? I love doing fun runs. Like, I'm doing all Grubs. So, like, after I do, because my next serious run is gonna be all vanilla bosses, and then maybe after that I'll do like another fun run. Maybe, depending on how I feel about it. But yeah. Is it doing your mom? Oh yeah, then that'll be easy. Oh, really? Are you serious? Is that it? That's insane. But you don't even get C dash or go into C peak at all? That's funny. I might have to though, because I can't like. I'm wondering how that works. I'll look at the speed run because that sounds really fun. How long is the speed run? If it's like an hour, I can probably do it. Or like 30 minutes or something, then I can probably turn it into like an hour. Like 41? Are you serious? Then it might be like an hour to hour and a half run. I could do that. That might be doable. I can turn it into like an hour and a half run. I'm just saying because like, yeah. I'm just saying because usually hitless stuff in the beginning is exactly the same. Like you go the normal way, like you go through Pilgrim's Way and everything like that. You don't do really anything special. Right? And then after that, after going through Pilgrim's Way and everything, that's when you're usually doing the speedrun stuff. So like that's what I did with Elegy, where like I flipped it around to where like I go through Pilgrim's Way and everything first, kinda, and then like I do exactly what Elegy does with like a few extra stuff here and there. So like, at least that's what I remember. I have the notes. I have to look up the notes, but like I literally have like route notes for Elegy, and it's like really close to the speed run. So, and like with a few changes, and that's what I usually do. I look at the speed run and then I like make changes to it, like slight changes to slow it down. So yeah, if it's like an hour 20 minutes, it's completely doable. Like that's any percent hitless, really. So like. After Hornet 2, I'd assume you'd want Shriek as your main damage source. Yeah, probably. Yeah. We'll figure it out. Like, I think it'd be really fun. Your fingers hurt? I'm sorry, Dev. What were you doing, friend? Were you fingering my mom or something? I'm waiting for it. Yeah, there it is. I was waiting for someone to say it. My fingers hurt. Your mom's pretty satisfied, though. Oh my god, I love it. I love Yo Mama jokes because they're so fucking stupid and like... It's just, they're so fun. And they're so like cheesy and you just have to appreciate the little stuff like that. You gotta like live a little, you know? You jammed your middle finger and sprained your ring finger. Doing what? My mom? Your mom was too tight, I guess. There it is. Maybe you need to take the sex ed class. What the fuck are you doing? Really? Fuck. Yeah, then the route will be really long then. The thing is, I don't know the route, so it's hard for me to like discuss about it because I've never seen anyone do it before. So like, I don't know what it looks like. But I would love to route it. I think it'd be really fun. Oh, what am I doing? I don't go here yet. Oh shit. I'm so sorry, Dev. That fucking sucks. That sounds like it hurts. I am so sorry. My friends are assholes. That's a fucking crazy pinned comment. Yeah, we kind of do that here. But listen, when Catnip, like, makes a super clever joke, how am I not supposed to pin it? You know what I mean? Like... She's just witty like that. What do you want me to do, you know? You dead? Yeah. Okay. There's a cool bubble pogo out of pale ore to avoid all the silly things. Can you send me a video of it? If you have one? I don't know what you mean. Because if there is, then I would love to do it. I love doing silly bullshit. I love orange juice. I think I brought it up when you were doing skip list. Really? Oh, okay. I might have forgotten it. I forgot a lot of things. I'm sorry. And it's not too backseaty, you're good. So. I'm a lot better with that kind of stuff now, honestly. Because I know everyone's just curious and, like, wants to wonder what I'm doing, and I know not everything I do is the most, like, efficient way to do things and stuff like that. Like, it happens. You know? That was smooth as hell. Thank you. I practiced. I practiced. Sarah, hi. How you doing? Spock mode? That's funny. Dev's gonna be a Vulcan. Oh, fuck yeah. Nah, because I might do it for funsies. Sometimes in dead runs, I do funny strats. So. Live long and prosper? Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is. You'll know when you see it? Okay, I believe you. I trust you. If the funny strat's the easy one, I might just do that one. And they'll be like, why do you do it that way? And I'm like, because it's funny. I do that shit all the time. I'll like do stupid shit, and like people will be like, why do you do it that way? And I'm like, because I like it. For style points. Shit. Calm down. Okay. No darkness leaves. I don't need Dark Nest. I don't have a lantern. This shit is lit up. Fucking Dark Nest. I was in speedrun mode. Oh, fair enough. He's like, no Dark Nest? Leaves. I'm like, I don't go to Dark Nest. Yeah, I need that room, yeah. It's scary, and I fucked it up too. I fucked it up like twice, so... But you didn't really like notice, because I'm just that fucking good. Dark Nest the Galleon's super safe? No, I might get Lantern anyway. I'm not gonna do Dark Nest in fucking... Hitless. You got me fucked up if you think I'm doing Dark Nest in Hitless. Is it $14.50 for both? Is $14.50 for both vessel fragments, right? I mean, we're gonna find out in the next 30 seconds. Because it's $5.50 and $900, right? Do you ever think how creepy that some bugs have creatures inside them that grow limbs out of their corpses and chase down prey the hosts fail to reach? Yes, it's actually insanely creepy. Oh, barely. Let's go. Yeah, Dev, I got you. I know exactly what you're talking about. Is everything okay? Y'all can hear me, right? I mean, what? Okay, you can hear me. Okay, good. My computer does this like weird thing with sound sometimes where it'll like fuck up my mic. No, you're muted. What the fuck? Y'all are so trolly. Oh, the stream froze for a bit? Yeah, okay, good. Because that was my PC being a fucker. So if it's fine, it's fine. You realize this now? No, I'm not realizing it now. Has yesterday taught you... Yeah, when you were like, hey, Death, look at this, and you shotgunned me in the face in the fucking shop. Yeah, you know what? You're right. My bad, dude. Ooh, Death, look, a shotgun. Hey, Death, pow. It was funny. That's funny. Holy shit. I've just been predicting your words the whole time. Yeah, of course. You're just a fucking wizard. Oh my god. Wait, wizard's my branding? You're the wizard, that's different.
Velmi Ardred.
Wizard's my branding.
Kachael,
You can't be a wizard,
Liasoke,
I'm a wizard.
Velmi Ardred.
Can I be a wizard?
War's son?
You can be whatever you want to be,
Velmi
Harry
Ardred.
Potter.
Velmi Ardred. Velmi Ardred.
Oh, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. A wizard is never late or early. They're precisely there when they need to be. Yep. Since a wizard is never late nor is he too early. Yep. I saw what you fucking did there. A wizard can be delayed, though. Yes. I'm uncultured. You just different culture. Yeah, it's a Lord of the Rings thing. It's a different culture. Bacteria core. You're never related to Lord of the Rings? That's fair. I mean, I'm more of a sci-fi person than fantasy, so I know what you mean. But yeah, Lord of the Rings is great. You just ever make the night headbang for fun? Yes, but not on stream because it shakes the screen and it can make people like dizzy. But I do it off stream. I try not to do things that make people dizzy or like nauseous. But like I said, off stream, yeah, I'll fucking do it. Sorry if I'm not reading your stuff. This is like very crucial. Let's fucking go, dude. Oh my god. You don't know, I've been practicing Call of 1 forever. Literally just for this. Watch out. Oh shit. We're not done yet. Job not finished. We do not, Sarah, we do not. Let's fucking go, dude! Oh! Let's go! Oh my god. Oh my god. That was fun. That was so fun. That was a fun little bounty. That was really fun. Learning Colo 1 is like Colo 1 was the most fun part about this. It was great. Huge for me for sex ed alumni. Oh my god, dude. That's fun. World's first? Yeah, I guess. Technically. Finally a route to steal? Funny enough, I started this. Listen.
In return, you gave him your immortal soul.
Thank you for following, by the way. I saw the challenge on April 1st. I routed it April 3rd, and I started running it April 4th. And I immediately got like a 2-hit PB. And then I broke my foot.
Gave him your immortal
and
soul.
I have finals. And then I was like, okay, my foot's good enough to like help me sit on the desk now. Cause like before I could not sit at a desk for too long. And now I can sit here a little longer. And so I was like, fuck it, let me start running it again. Let me fucking get it. Oh my god. So it was like, okay, so now I can just focus on studying. Now it's not going to be on my mind. I study physics. Yeah, I literally have my quantum, like, I have my quantum mechanics 2 final on Tuesday that I have to study for. And like, but I'm like, this is kind of like on the back of my mind and it's like bugging me. So like now that I have it done, like, oof. Holy shit. But yeah, Cal, I believe in you. I believe in you, friend. Oh my god. I have a master's degree in astrophysics. See, that's fucking sick. That's great. That's like that's what I would love. Even if it's 7 years ago, like, you know, that's still like a lot. That's still everything. Are you gonna keep going for a speedier route or you're done? Oh, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. I would if I had time. Who verifies your runs, Death? Your mom. No, the 9 other Hollow Knight verifiers. I mean, Cal's here. Cal will be like, yeah, I'll do it. Oh, no, I can give Shaka more work. Make Shaka do it. Shaka can have all my runs. I'll be like, here, I'll DM them being like, here's another one. Oh my god. Oh my god. I love the I miss the thrill too. Like I haven't had that in a while. Where like you're about to like get the run and you kind of feel it in your chest and your adrenaline's pumping. I haven't felt that in a while because of classes and stuff. So it was really nice to feel that again too. Oh man, because I was nervous. How long has the run been? Like my time, it's like hold up. Hour 23. That's like any percent. And I get like nail 2, cyclone, dash slash, D dark, shade soul, um and then I get like 10 charms and go for soul eater. Like my charm setup is like, so like I do the first like 30 to 40 minutes I'm doing true ending route. And so like I do soul catcher, then shaman, and then like then I get spell twister and added to it for the all skills part, and then I switch to soul eater, and then this is my setup because this is what speedrunners use, minus dream wielder for colos. And so I stole their thing, and I was like, okay, well that's just TE, but like minus dream wielder, and so like I kind of like took some of their strats, and like made what was comfortable for me, and then like um yeah. Yeah, for colo, yeah, I got dash slash, cyclone, shade soul, and Dita. So but I don't get a Bish Shriek or anything, and then I get nail 2 because it's on the way to Broken Vessel anyway, because you need wings for Zoe. So I just go for the Palor on the way and then get nail 2 like right before column, and then it works. So I'm like nail 0 until like an hour into the run, because you don't really need nail damage when you have like this, when you have these. Why do you need 10 charm notches? Yeah, to overcharm. Like, That's why. Like, because if I it's not 2 charm notches, it's I get the 7th one from colo 1. So like this is misleading. Like before I finish colo 1 I get 6. So I'm only over charming by 1. And I use this setup for colo 1. So the 7 charm notches is misleading. Like I usually have 6 by this point. And then this is the 5 I have, and then this is the overcharge. Yeah, you're good, you're good. I'm just like clearing it up. Yeah, I'll take a look at the routing. Yeah. I wish I wrote it down. Like, I usually write my routes down, but for this one, it felt like I just kind of went with it and like intuitively made it. And so it kind of makes sense in my head. Like, I don't have like, yeah, it just kind of makes sense in my head. So it's like, I'm sorry, because if I had like written it down, I would have like sent it to you and stuff, and I would have just sent it. But like, that's my bad. So, because I usually write my notes down. Yeah. Write it down in the style of an any percent AG copy pasta. Yeah. Oh my god. Is that, oh my god. Jesus Christ, Python. That's really funny. I usually watch runs to build routing anyway. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I do. But then I write them down just in case. Like, I do both, so that if anyone wants my notes, they can like watch the video and then they can follow with the notes. And stuff like that. Like, I have notes for true ending, an old all skills run, not the current one I do, but it's an older one. And then I'm writing the notes for any percent. I don't think I finished them. And then I have notes for any percent skipless, but a lot of it says do the same thing as any percent hitless, which is really funny. Do what any percent hitless does, except this, this, and this. So yeah, and then I wrote all grubs too. So I still have that in the back pocket. So yeah, I have like a folder of like all of like the route notes and the save states and stuff. Yeah, a lot of it is just like do what any percent does. It's so stupid. Oh my god. But yeah, thank you for the follows, friends. I guess follows are anonymous, so like no need to like go out of lurk or anything. I appreciate y'all for being here. Dude, I'm so glad I got this. I got like a 2-hit run yesterday, and then before this I got a 2-hit. So it's nice to like just skip PB1 and just like, yeah. No, I practiced colo 1 for a while. Like, trying to figure it out. Not even trying to figure it out, but just, like, doing the proper movements. And before, I tried it without Cyclone, and it was a lot harder. But then I tried it with Cyclone, and I was like, this is so easy now. And Cyclone is, like, an extra, like, 30 seconds. Because I'm getting Fury anyway for the 10 charms. So I might as well get Fury later, and then while I'm getting it, I get Cyclone and leave. And it, like, worked so well. So. Yeah, thanks for being here, Frogs. I appreciate you, friend. I appreciate everyone being here. This is nice. Oh, I'm getting sick of the fucking yawning. Yeah, it's late. Spins. Yeah, thank you, thank you. I have to send this to the event submission, right? I just have to put it under events or something, like the Twitch clip. Because I'm gonna put the Twitch clip in first, and then probably put it on YouTube tomorrow, because I have to make a thumbnail. So, hi Jelly, hi bye. Thank you for being here. Thanks everybody. But I'll probably do that. Yeah, okay. I'll put the Twitch clip in there, and then I'll make a YouTube clip tomorrow, and then also put it in and be like, "Can you use this one instead?" type of thing. Because I don't want to do it right now. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. I gotta rest my foot. It was cramping up in the middle of the run. It was getting like twitches and stuff. So I have to like take care of it. I have to take care of it. Okay. Yay. Thank y'all for being here. Starting in May, before people start leaving stuff, starting in May, that's when my exams are going to be done. And I'm going to be continuing with all Grubs Hitless. So we're going to do all Grubs, and then whenever I'm done with all Grubs Hitless, we're going to be doing all vanilla bosses. I'm still routing all vanilla bosses right now. But it'll probably be done by the time I do all Grubs. So, because all Grubs is all set up. I have the route. I have everything. I just have to practice what to do. And we'll do that on stream and everything like that. So that's what we'll be doing. So, yeah. Good night, friends. Let's find someone to raid. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Is Tark still going or no? Yeah. Oh, he's going PP. I'm just gonna like raid at the worst time. He's gonna have to hold his piss. Nah, he's probably just gonna go PP. Okay, friends. Fucking later. I'll see you in May 1st, because I'm not gonna be streaming until May 1st. And we'll do all Grub stuff. Well, May 2nd, because I have appointments and stuff on May 1st. Okay, bye. Thank you for being here. Yay, we win. I'll put it in event submissions, and I'll put it in my Discord. I'll put like the full run and everyone can watch it. Yay. Bye-bye.